From ABC News, I'm Gary Nahn. More than 3,700 Iranians may be dead, thousands more injured following a strong earthquake centered 125 miles from Tehran. Scores of cities and towns have been wrecked, some communities buried, rescue and relief operations hampered by landslides, and crews now are using bulldozers to clear debris and mudslides. That's the sound of one bulldozer working on a highway in the city of Rasht, 175 miles from Tehran. Reaction from the White House reported by ABC's Ann Compton.
As soon as the White House heard of the earthquake, President Bush made a gesture that has political overtones. He sent a message of condolences to Iranian President Rafsanjani, through third parties, of course. That's exactly the kind of gesture President Bush long promised Iran, a humanitarian gesture that could not be construed as dealing with hostage-takers in the Middle East.
ABC's Ann Compton reporting from the White House. No indication Iran has asked for help. Iran's spiritual leader, Ali Khamenei, calls the quake disaster a divine test, urging people to pass the test with pride through patience and cooperation. More news after this.
Only one tire store installs more kinds of tires on more cars than anyone else. Sears. We're on sale through July 4th. The SuperGuard 40 all-season steel-belted radial with a 40,000-mile warranty is as low as $21.88 for the P155-80R13. Installed in just 60 minutes on most cars. See store for details and ask about convenient 7-day-a-week service. Stop at Sears and stop with confidence. That's your money's worth and a whole lot more.
The Corlick sisters on Denny's Grand Slam breakfast specials.
Oh, there's nothing better in the morning than eating a Grand Slam special at the ballpark.
You can't eat a Grand Slam here.
Well, don't tell me you found something better for breakfast.
No, but we came here to see a Grand Slam.
As soon as I see one, I'm going to eat it.
They don't even serve Grand Slam breakfast in the ballpark.
When the game's over, it's time to go eat at Lenny's. Denny's.
Try one of our Grand Slam breakfast specials for just $2.99, Monday through Friday from 5 to 11 a.m. at participating Denny's.
The fuss over the flag continues. The House is debating whether or not to amend the Constitution to ban desecration of the Stars and Stripes. House Republican leader Bob Michael says this is an issue based on trust.
Anyone who truly believes that the First Amendment is so fragile that this amendment can in effect kill it, or that the American people are so weak in their love of free speech that they'll begin to trample on their own First Amendment rights, doesn't, in my view, have the faith in the American people out there.
Ohio Democrat James Traficant argued it is a matter of pride. Then he offered a mock pledge of allegiance to flag burners.
I pledge allegiance to this burning flag and the protest for which it stands. A divided nation under skinheads with violence and desecration for all.
Expect the House vote later this afternoon. The Supreme Court rules government employers generally may not base hiring, transfer, and promotion decisions on a person's party affiliation. Second day of Nelson Mandela's visit to the United States. In New York City's Riverside Church today, he thanked American religious leaders for their support in the struggle against apartheid in South Africa. He accepted a $200,000 check from them. As the service ended, there was a cry of Mandela, freedom. And ABC's Richard Davies was in the church.
As the procession makes its way down the aisle, the music and chants of Olan Tunji and his African drums ring out through this large church. Nelson Mandela is smiling and waving at people. They are applauding back, delighted that he is here for this service of thanksgiving and commitment.
ABC's Richard Davies from Riverside Church in New York. More red ink. The U.S. had a $42.5 billion budget deficit last month on income tax payments after a $41.8 billion surplus in April. Hard times may be coming at McDonnell Douglas, where officials reportedly say 4,000 employees at the St. Louis plant could be in line for pink slips. The St. Louis Post-Dispatch reports as many as 8,000 workers could be laid off throughout the company. This is ABC News.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Summer peaches from California.
Attention, your attention, please.
Summer peaches from California.
Fresh summer peaches are back. Sweet and light, so naturally refreshing.
Summer peaches, it wouldn't be summer without them.
Brought to you by the growers of California's summer fruits.
peaches.
AST Computers presents the right way and the wrong way to choose a business computer. First, the wrong way.
Well, gee, I don't know much about computers.
Okay, pal, we've got this really big model.
Ooh.
Yep, our Ultra Mega Wallet Whammer. It's poorly designed, it can't do much, but it'll break down a lot so you can throw up your hands and go home early.
Gee, I don't know.
Now, the right way.
Well, gee, I don't know much about computers.
Okay, we've got these AST models.
AST?
Mm-hmm. They've won over 25 major awards for quality and reliability, so they can do everything you need, and they won't break down like other brands.
I won't get to go home early?
Sorry.
Simmons,
Huh?
I couldn't help overhearing you ask for AST computers.
Well...
Good choice. How about a promotion to CEO and a tanning bed in your limo?
Whatever you say, sir.
As you can see, it isn't just the computers in a company that are highly valued, it's the people who choose the right ones. AST, unparalleled service and support for a full line of 386SX computers. Call 1-800-876-4AST for the name of the dealer nearest you.
Good afternoon. It's 6 minutes after 3 now. Cloudy, 72 degrees. New story, a man shot, critically wounded, found in Central Park near the band shell at 72nd Street this morning. And police say he may be the fourth victim of the so-called Zodiac shooter. The victim, described as black in his 20s, is in critical condition at New York Hospital. He was shot in the chest. A note was found nearby. The contents of the note have not been revealed, but police believe the shooting may be linked to 3 others in Queens and Brooklyn, with notes from the Zodiac gunman. All of the shootings have occurred on Thursdays in the pre-dawn hours. The first incident was back on the 8th of March. Nelson Mandela accepted a check for $200,000 today from a group of American churches to continue the fight against apartheid in South Africa. He spoke at Riverside Church in Manhattan as well. Tonight, Mandela will address a rally in Harlem and another at Yankee Stadium. Tomorrow, he'll speak at the UN. New Jersey Bell wants permission to begin charging $2 for each request to break in on a phone line. Company says it's mostly teenagers interrupting conversations to talk to other teenagers. Last year, the company had 12 million interrupt requests. The State Board of Utilities will now rule on that request. The arraignment of Howie Spira on charges of trying to extort money from Yankees owner George Steinbrenner was postponed today until the 5th of July. Prosecutor from Florida who brought the case was unable to be in New York. Spira was indicted in Tampa in March, but the case was moved here because Spira's attorney claims Steinbrenner would have an unfair advantage in Florida, where he lives and where his shipbuilding company is located. Chance of a shower yet this afternoon. Tonight it'll clear up, the overnight low about 68. Tomorrow, sunny, hot, and humid, the high around 90. And chance of showers and thunderstorms Friday night and Saturday. 72 now, partly cloudy. I'm Bruce Anderson, WABC News. Next is Bob Grant.
The opinions expressed on the Bob Grant program do not necessarily reflect those of WABC Radio or its management. And now, here's Bob Grant.
And let's be heard. Good afternoon, everyone. The telephone lines are open. The number to call in New York and Connecticut, 563 WABC. From New Jersey, 489 WABC, in a program dedicated to the free and open exchange of ideas and of opinions, in the belief that as American citizens, you have a right to hear and to be heard. And what is on your mind this afternoon, huh? Well, ladies and gentlemen, fortunately or unfortunately, as the case may be, this broadcast was preempted yesterday in order for this radio station to fulfill its commitment to air each and every game of the New York Yankee baseball season. And since they were playing a day game, we were not broadcasting yesterday. I say, for better, for worse, maybe, it was just as well. I was able to watch with you, if that's what you chose to do, the television coverage. Not only did I watch it yesterday, but I watched it today, of the visit from South Africa of Nelson Mandela. Now, I don't know how to make this any clearer, except to say, in spite of my reservations about this man, And I don't compare him to Moses or Jesus Christ or Muhammad, as one pathetic news reporter did. I don't compare him to Neil Armstrong, as another pathetic reporter did. But he, as a person, seems to have many likable traits. He seems to be a man of refinement. He seems to carry himself with a certain elegance and a certain patrician manner, which many of his idolaters would do well to emulate. He could teach many people in this country a few lessons on speech-making, on politeness, on courtesy. Having said that, let me say that I was nauseated by the coverage. I'd like to know why channels 2, 4, 5, 7, 9, except for the Met game, felt it necessary to cover every single moment of his visit here, why they are preempting all of their regularly scheduled programs and sacrificing great amounts of money. For what purpose? Who are they trying to impress? Are they pandering to the black community? Do they really think it is that newsworthy? And Channel 7, shame on you, Channel 7. When other channels stopped carrying that show from St. John the Divine, Channel 7 kept the cameras rolling over there. And naturally, the National Council of Churches was sponsoring the affair, and if you don't know now, you should be apprised of the fact the National Council of Churches is a organization riddled with communists and communist-loving lefto, pinko weirdos. But why such coverage? Why such? I really don't understand. I'd like to ask the people in this audience, and I'm not just talking about any person of a particular hue. I'd like to ask the people in this audience, if you are that interested, if you're hanging on every word that the man says. By the way, he made his speech about, he told us right off the bat that the sanctions must continue. He told us right off the bat that apartheid, in many respects, still exists in South Africa. He told us right off the bat that he will not consider himself free until he's able to go to the polls and vote. He told us that at JFK Airport from the very moment he touched down to all those tush-kissing scoundrels. And by the way, speaking of tush-kissers, I was absolutely ashamed of Il Supremo. I think Mario Cuomo, his arrogance in Albany, I think he hit an all-time low for pandering. The guy's running for president, as you well know. And if you don't know, well, remember I told you first. He's running for president. He has such contempt for the people of New York and such contempt for the political opposition that he knows he can run and win a third term as governor and turn around virtually the very next day and say, you know what, I've decided that the only way to really do a job for New York is to go to Washington, therefore my stooge Stanley Lundeen is going to sit in. He's going to take the oath of office. Well, that's coming up. But anyway, I thought Il Supremo acted like a real panderer yesterday. A real sleazeball. Let's see, what else? What else do you want me to tell you? I'll quote one report on Mandela himself. Quote, he may be a brave fighter against apartheid, but his past activities and present alliances should alarm not all free men. Put not your trust in princes, the Psalms tell us. We are about to cast aside that wise counsel as we feet the latest Marxist messiah. Mandela is receiving all the plaudits. He got a Broadway parade. By the way, lost in the maze of announcements about what he's going to do, you probably don't even know that while he's here, he will meet with President Bush. He will address Congress, honors never accorded to Alexander Solzhenitsyn. Have we not been here before when Fidel Castro, hero of the Cuban Revolution, came to New York? A nightly vigil was held outside his hotel. In the 60s, college students had wall posters of Che Guevara and Uncle Ho, the George Washington of his country. Danny Ortega and his designer glasses was the toast of Hollywood. And now, with each exposed as a bloody fraud, our politicians and press are falling all over one another to touch the hem of the garment of the great Mandela. Yes, Mandela may be a brave fighter against apartheid, and 27 years in prison may have given him a courage and dignity few African leaders exhibit, but his past activities and present alliances should alarm, not awe, free men. Nelson Mandela was never a political prisoner. He was captured with explosives used in sabotage. He has endorsed terrorist tactics. His comrades in the African National Congress, he now concedes, have tortured and murdered their own in exile. His closest confidant, wife Winnie, is a hater who rejoiced in the necklacing of ANC enemies, a practice that entails burning alive collaborators by draping around their necks tires filled with gasoline and igniting them often after the victim's arms are cut off. With our necklaces, we shall liberate this country, the mother of the revolution said in 1986, the year she toasted Moscow as torchbearer for all our hopes. And recently, the Soweto sweetheart was implicated in the beating and murder of a 14-year-old boy at her palatial home while Mandela was in prison. The ruling council of the ANC also overlaps neatly with the South African Communist Party, whose boss, Joe Slovo, Mandela calls, quote, one of our finest patriots. We are heartened, he said, after leaving prison, that the alliance between ourselves and the Communist Party remains as strong as it has always been. Whom does Mandela admire? On foreign trips, he singles out three men, Arafat, Gaddafi, Castro. During all my years in prison, Cuba was an inspiration and Comrade Fidel Castro a tower of strength. There is one thing where that country, Cuba, stands out head and shoulders above the rest. That is in its love for human rights and liberty. You know who spoke those words? That's right, Nelson Mandela. Of Arafat's PLO, he just said, we are in the same trench, struggling against the same enemy. The twin Tel Aviv and Pretoria regimes, apartheid, racism, colonialism, and neo-colonialism. When Jews protested, he shot back, if the truth alienates the powerful Jewish community in South Africa, that's too bad. Where in Africa have men with the alliances and ideas of Nelson Mandela not led their nations to darkness and death? Nkrumah in Ghana, Nyerere in Tanzania, Mengistu in Ethiopia, Kwanda in Zambia, Mugabe in Zimbabwe, Amin in Uganda, and dozens more, have converted the dark continent into what historian Paul Johnson has aptly named Caliban's Kingdom. And Mandela's economic ideas? The nationalization of the mines, the financial institutions, and monopoly industries is the fundamental policy of the ANC, and it is inconceivable that we will ever change that policy, he said in April. Surely there's a formula for the ruin of South Africa and the exodus of its white minority. One South African who admires Mandela told Pat Buchanan, it is a fact that we need 5% real growth in South Africa to provide work for the 400,000 blacks who are added annually to our labor pool. If banks are nationalized, the necessary investment will not be made, And because we have no safety net, our blacks will starve. In a manifestation of our moral double standard, we impose on the reform government of F.W. de Klerk sanctions we never imposed on the squalid dictatorships that have pockmarked all sub-Sahara South Africa. Simon Barber, South African correspondent for Business Day, reports that at a recent CIA meeting, Herman Cohen, Assistant U.S. Secretary of State, declared it to be U.S. policy to tilt to the ANC. Barber's assessment of George Bush's administration, cleanly filleted of spine, cleanly filleted of principle, vision, even solid intelligence, and analysis. The ideas Nelson Mandela espouses would make it impossible to look upon what is going to be happening there as a move towards real democracy. Pat Buchanan suggests that George Bush should close the Oval Office door and tell Nelson Mandela a few of these things, but he, like I, or like me, rather, knows that he won't do that. Anyway, it's 21 minutes now past 3 o'clock.
Jack's, the quality men's store in Brooklyn and Queens, announces a once-in-a-lifetime emergency liquidation sale. Jack's in Brooklyn lost their lease and must move within 30 days. They have a massive inventory of desirable spring and summer clothes that must be sold now. To accomplish this, both locations in Brooklyn and Queens are participating in a $1 million liquidation sale. Save up to 70% on fine men's suits, top-quality sportswear, sports jackets, slacks, and more. Suits that were $250 to $300, now $99 to $129. Better brands, $300 to $450, now only $199. If your taste is for the $600 suit, the ultimate in quality and design, they're $299. Jack's, the sale of a lifetime, now at both locations. In Brooklyn, Jack's is on Rockaway Parkway at the Belt. In Queens, on Parsons Boulevard at Jewel Avenue. Open 7 days a week, parking free. Everything must go. In Brooklyn, 241 JACK. In Queens, 591 JACK.
American Airlines is proud to announce new service to 20 cities and 15 countries throughout Central and South America beginning July 1st. This exciting expansion into Latin America is another way we're bringing more of the world closer to you. Beginning July 1st, American will fly to Rio de Janeiro and Sao Paulo, Brazil, Buenos Aires, Argentina, and Santiago, Chile, in addition to our existing service to Guatemala City, Guatemala, San Jose, Costa Rica, and Caracas, Venezuela. So call your travel agent or American.
Remember this number, 1-800-421-4802. It may be your birthday or the morning of a big meeting, but one day you'll look in the mirror and see you're going bald, and you're either going to live with that or do something about it. Now, if you're ready to do something now, today, call BioExcel at 1-800-421-4802. For the first time ever, BioExcel can make you a guarantee after near permanence has eliminated your hair loss. You decide. If you like what they've done, you pay. If you don't, you don't pay. This money-back guarantee eliminates worry and the financial risk you won't like the way you look when they're finished. If you call BioExcel right now at 1-800-421-4802, they'll explain how you can take advantage of this 100% money-back guarantee. But call 1-800-421-4802 now, since the special offer is available for a limited time only. BioExcel, call them right now, 1-800-421-4802, 1-800-421-4802. Let's get to our telephones here on the Bob Grant program and say hello to Tony, WABC's New York line. Yes, hello, Tony.
Yeah, hi, Bob. You know what scares me is the naivety of the American black. You know, my God, how can they, the man is a Marxist, an avowed Marxist, and nobody seems to accept that.
Well, that's true. That does not concern them for one of two reasons. Either A, they really don't feel inimical to Marxism because they don't really understand what Marxism is, or B, they don't care. There are people like Harry Belafonte. I've heard and read comments that he has made over the years, speeches he's made at groups. If he's not a Marxist, then I don't know what he is. So there are a lot of people who are Marxists in fact, if not in name. In other words, they may not come right out and say, I am a Marxist. But by their credo, you know them.
Yes. Thank you, Bob.
Not at all, thank you. Hello, Ed. You're at WABC.
Yes. Long live Mandela.
All right, long live Mandela. And then the next comment was unairable. And we don't want to get another letter from Mark Horowitz out there, who, where does he live? I forget. Who was so offended because a naughty word went out last week. Bert, you're on WABC. Hello.
Hello. First of all, I'd like to answer your question about watching the TV.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't watched one program connected with this man because they are just making him a hero for asking for freedom in his country, but yet we're losing it in our country. I just sent off a telegram to Washington, which I know will not do any good. A lot of people, innocent people in Iran, have been hurt due to this earthquake. But the hostages, who are innocent people, have also been hurt, and their families. I say no help for Iran until they release our hostages.
Very good. But as you say, it will fall on deaf ears because we have a guy in the White House who talked about a kinder and gentler nation. What he meant was a bigger and better sucker known as Uncle Sap.
Mm-hmm. I've been watching also the House of Representatives. They're talking about the amendment to the Constitution.
Yes.
So far, every representative from New York, one from Connecticut, are against it.
Well, outside of Norman Lent and maybe Congressman McGrath and one or two others upstate, all the congressmen, all the Democrats are against the amendment. Republican Bill Green is against it.
McHugh.
He's against it also.
Yes. And an Ackerman, didn't see.
Well, Gary Ackerman is against it because Gary Ackerman is a flaming far left-wing liberal. So what do you expect?
And then Green.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's Marty. Hello, Marty.
I wanted to make a comment on the visit to the garbage capital of the world of this bomb-planting terrorist ingrate skell, New York terminology, Nelson Mandela. First thing he says when he gets out of the plane, if I'm not mistaken, is power. Not God bless America, not I'm thankful to be here, whatever. The guy he's a terrorist, all right? Now, I don't mind his, in quotation marks, people worshiping him as a hero. And, welcome, giving him a welcome like the Poles welcome Lech Walesa.
And you don't mind paying for it either.
No,
because you are paying for it.
No, let me finish. I don't mind his own people if they want to pay for it, but I don't like paying a ticket tape parade. This is an outrage. Only thing I'll say about the ticket tape parade is it's like when they're in the projects throwing the garbage out the window. It's basically the same thing, so the guy felt at home, whatever. Okay, what I'm trying to figure out, what really puzzles me about the visit to New York by this terrorist, is the Jews, how they're kissing his behind. I read in the paper yesterday saying that the Jews have always regarded Nelson Mandela as their hero. I don't know if the idiots out there are aware of it, but South Africa has always been very good with Israel. And if the Jews are supposed to be owing to Israel or, that's their cause, then why are they siding with a guy who wants to destroy it? I would have to say to Jaime, Morris, Yitz, listen, put down the book, put down the shawl, get up off your knees, and listen, fellas, Nelson Mandela is not your friends, and it's obvious in New York City that blacks don't like Jews, okay? So they have to understand.
Well, I don't think it's that they don't like Jews. No, I don't think that.
We're having
I think Sonny Carson admitted something when he was accused of being anti-Semitic because of things he had said he said, I'm not anti-Semitic, I'm anti-white.
Yeah, but the only thing is that right now we're getting into a period of enlightenment where a lot of people are putting forward their true feelings. For the longest time in New York City, the black Muslims in their newspapers have spouted, anti-Jewish rhetoric. And other groups, it's just that some are reserved and some are very boastful or whatever. But these Jews think that this guy is their friend. I don't mind the blacks,
How many Jews really, and I don't know the answer any more than you do, but how many really feel that way about Mandela, and how many are just pretending that they are?
Well,
there was a rabbi who went on and on and on after the proceedings were all concluded, and all of the so-called dignitaries started leaving the podium in front of City Hall yesterday, and lo and behold, this rabbi, Myron, I think, Fenster, he began some kind of blessing, and he went on and on and on and on. WABC, let's see, where do we go from here? We get back to our busy telephones, and, before I forget, you've heard us talk about Broadway Roy Fredericks from time to time. Broadway Roy representing part of the karma that I have in my life, or a past life that in which I must have been not too kind. Anyway, Broadway Roy, believe it or not, was not left on a doorstep, although a lot of people think he was. Nevertheless, his parents in Philadelphia, Mr. and Mrs. David Grodsky, are celebrating their 48th anniversary today. So, Mr. and Mrs. Grodsky, in view of the fact that you have had to endure the travail of raising such a son like Broadway Roy, I think it's only fitting and proper that we wish you a very happy anniversary. And I'm sure that everybody will join in me in giving them their condolences for having such a son, but nevertheless, life goes on. At any rate, it's 24 minutes before 4 o'clock. And, John, you're on WABC. Hello.
Bob?
Yes.
Well, last night at the supper table, surrounded by my family, I felt humiliated. I said, there must be something wrong with me. I say, here is the whole country, or the whole, on television and media anyway, going crazy over an avowed black Marxist. He was in prison for trying to overthrow a government. Happened to be a white government. But if South Africa was all black, he would have still been in prison because he was trying to overthrow it and establish a Marxist regime. No one has, I haven't heard any of these so-called intellectuals even mention it outside of you and one or two other people on WABC. All the other media are a bunch of bootlickers. I've felt ashamed that there's no person with a modicum of integrity out there and say, this man is an avowed communist. He wanted to overthrow the South African government, who happened to be white and had apartheid. He would have overthrew Mr. Zulu. He would have Mr. Swahili. He would have threw over any black who was in there who believed in the free enterprise system. They made it a racial thing when it was a political thing. He's a brilliant man. I respect Mandela. At least he's got collusions, and he's smart, and he's dignified, and he's intelligent, and he hasn't sold himself out. He hasn't changed his policy one iota, and they're all fawning like a bunch of lickspittles, especially intelligent Jews in New York whom I respected all my life. I have no use for them whatever. I really mean, Bob, I'm so teed off that I felt like sticking my head down the toilet.
All right, John. That's being pretty teed off that you would think of doing something like that. Tom, you're on WABC. Hello.
Yeah, I'm caught up with all this media hype on Mandela like everybody else. He's a non-American. I don't know why everyone's getting carried away with all the coverage. I'm actually confused because we always have ticker tape parades for great Americans in New York over the years. Correct?
Well, we're trying to find a time when a non-citizen, a foreigner, was feted this way. And, of course, there's a reason why there's a difference made. The difference, of course, being that we have a black power structure now that is not concerned with nationality, not concerned with nationhood, not concerned with political ideology, but concerned with only one thing, and they are totally consumed by race. They are so totally racist in their orientation, or racial, however you want to put it. I'm not going to mince words. That's right. The only consideration. They don't care what he's done, what he stands for. All they care about is that he's black. Right. If suddenly tomorrow, through some strange biological quirk, he should turn out looking like Van Johnson, they'd drop him like a hot potato. Suddenly he'd be a bum.
Right. In 1910, the first ticker tape parade was for Theodore Roosevelt. In 1927, we had one for Lindbergh. Then we had one for Howard Hughes because he went around the world. Then we had another one for John Glenn. These are all Americans. This is the first time we ever did it for a foreigner, right?
Well, I just got through explaining, I thought, as to why there's a difference made in this particular case.
How is he going to help any American? What is he doing for any American?
Well, okay, thank you for the call. And, ladies and gentlemen, there are positive aspects to doing the Bob Grant Show, and there are negative aspects. Here is a negative aspect. We now present Mystery History. Because you didn't know the answer to who the Mystery History voice was earlier this morning on the Steve Kane program, or Rush Limbaugh's Self-Adulation Hour, or Joy Behar's program, because you didn't know the answer on all of those programs, I'm stuck with Mystery History. And if you don't get it this hour, I'll inflict it on you the next hour and then the hour after that. I hope you're able to figure out who the Mystery History voice is. In case you are wondering what's in it for you, $1,000. You get a chance to win $1,000 in cold cash, and all you have to do is identify the Mystery History voice. We will take caller number 8 at 212-955-WABC. That's 212-955-9222. Don't start calling until you hear the Mystery History voice. Now, here we go. We're looking for caller number 8.
We must be doing something right to last 200 years.
No, it's not Julio Iglesias' illegitimate brother. Now, we'll be back with the contestant calling on line 8 in just a moment. This is Bob Grant. You all know how I feel about Nutrisystem. How does another member of the Grant family feel about it? Well, let's ask Cindy Grant. How do you feel?
I feel great about the program. It's been a wonderful time that I've been on the diet. I don't feel deprived. I don't feel that I'm really on a diet. There's never any point in my day where I feel, oh, I'm so hungry. When you do lose weight, of course, everybody feels better. And I'm just looking forward to the day I reach my goal.
Do you feel deprived, Cindy?
Not at all, Dad. Not at all. I feel great on the program, and my success has been steady. I don't feel that I'm even on a diet. I don't feel deprived at all.
Well, that's why Nutrisystem says we succeed where diets fail you. Thank you, Cindy. We'll be checking up on you again real soon.
Great, thanks.
There are over 70 Nutrisystem centers located throughout the metro New York area. For the center nearest you, call 1-800-321-THIN. That's 1-800-321-THIN. Nutrisystem. We succeed where diets fail you. All right, I think we are ready now for Mystery History. And let's see, on line... Okay. We have Aaron on the line. Aaron, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, Aaron. By the way, where do you live, Aaron?
In New Jersey, but I'm working in New York now.
Okay. Aaron, you have 7 seconds to identify...
Is it Pete Seeger?
He gave it too soon. Wait, we'll forget about that because you had a chance to hear the voice again. So wait, I'm supposed to play it for you one more time. We didn't hear what you just said, Aaron, okay?
Okay.
Here's the
We
message.
must be doing something right to last 200 years.
I know that's insipid, but give it a guess. It's not the person you mentioned.
It's not Pete Seeger?
I tell you that it wasn't him? What a dope. What a dope. I just told him it wasn't Pete Seeger, and he keeps saying, is that Pete Seeger? I hung up on the jerk. What a dope. What a dope. I don't believe it. You were listening, ladies and gentlemen. I called the guy. He right away says, is that Pete Seeger? I said, no, it's not Pete Seeger, but we'll give you a chance to hit. Oh, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. You gotta be dumb to do that. You gotta practice dumbness. Gotta get out of here, really. I really do. This portion of Bob Grant Show is brought to you by Celebrity Cruises.
Hello. I've been trying, so far with no success, to determine which of Celebrity Cruises' ships is the best ship to Bermuda. I've already been on Celebrity's Horizon, the world's newest ship to Bermuda, so in the interest of fairness, today I'll tour Celebrity's Meridian, which is also sailing to Bermuda from New York. I'll begin in one of Meridian's spacious cabins. This echo sounds familiar. Now I'm sampling Meridian's dinner menu, designed by world-renowned chef Michel Roux, just like on the Horizon. Next, it's Meridian's Fitness Center. The weights are every bit as heavy as Horizon's. Oh, I might as well face it. I can't find a difference in luxury between Meridian and Horizon. Maybe your travel agent can help find the best ship for you. Or you can call Celebrity at 800-621-3446.
Celebrity's Bermuda cruises are priced from $895 per person, double occupancy, port tax extra.
I've discovered a difference. Horizon is registered in Liberia, Meridian, the Bahamas.
Something very big is happening at 4 p.m. today through Monday at Levitt's. A limited time to save big dollars. Thousands of furniture items must go. Special purchases at special savings. Display samples, discontinued styles, odd lots, unbalanced inventory, one and two of a kind, plus many of Levitt's best sellers on sale at 20 to 58% off. Levitt's will be closed today until 4 p.m. to get ready for this big sale. Then, at 4 p.m., the doors will open, and something very big will happen. Save hundreds of dollars on new factory-fresh furniture at the Levitt showroom near you from 4 p.m. today through Monday. Just a few days to save big dollars. Something very big is happening, and we'd hate to see you miss this sale. So visit the Levitt showroom near you.
You love it at Levitt.
Levitt's Furniture in Long Island and New Jersey.
Tonight, after the Yankee game, a WABC sports special, the state of the New York Yankees.
Garrick's speech, I remember quite well. He continually said during that speech how lucky he was. He was just a great guy that way. He took things so serious. For instance, he'd go 0 for 4, had a bad day at the plate. He felt responsible if we should have lost that game that he didn't get a base hit during one of those times with a man on base. That's how serious he was about the game, and that's how good a leader he was with the team. That's why I think why we went on to win so many pennants, because we looked up to Burek.
The state of the New York Yankees, brought to you by Panasonic, just slightly ahead of our time. Tonight, after the postgame show on WABC.
All right, let's get back to our telephones, Lisa. You're on WABC. Bob Grant here. Hello.
Hi, Bob. There's one thing that I haven't heard mentioned that Mandela said that I found particularly offensive, and there is one reporter who I think deserves praise for a comment that she made shortly after Mandela's the speech that Mandela made that I'm referring to. When Mandela spoke at Boys and Girls High School, what did he do but ask this audience of school children to go out raising funds, which I think is absolutely inappropriate especially for that kind of audience. Well, after he spoke, Roz Abrams made a sort of sidebar comment wherein she said that she hoped that Mandela's audience realized that in America, young people who apply themselves can and do get the kind of education that Mandela was telling them is deficient in South Africa. And if Mandela had any credibility at all, he would have said words to that effect, reminded his young listeners to take advantage of of what is offered to them and make the most of it. And if he's saying that South African young people have to leave the country to get the education that they want and need, and Americans don't have to do that, they should appreciate their opportunities. But it wasn't Mandela who said it, it was Ross Abrams.
WABC, thank you, Lisa. Let's say hello to somebody who is identifying himself as Duval.
Yes. I want to know about the statement you made about all blacks being racist, just because Mandela's here for the parade, the ticker tape parade.
Okay, it goes like this. If your only consideration for anything is the color of a person's skin, then you're thinking along racist lines. That is the point of my statement. In other words, if you are able to judge a guy by his political views, by any other views other than the color of his skin, then you're not guilty of being totally racist. But if that's the only thing that they're thinking about is the color of his skin, then of course it doesn't matter that he's a Marxist.
But why doesn't it identify with the blacks over here, being that he was in jail for 28 years or so? You don't think that's very important for the blacks in the United States to identify with Nelson Mandela and the struggles that he went through?
Well, wait a minute. He wasn't put in jail just because he was black. There are 30 million blacks in South Africa right now, and very, very few of them are in jail because most of them haven't been blowing up bridges and dynamiting buildings.
Oh, because he spoke up against the white regime.
No, he was not. I don't know where the heck you've been, but you can love Mandela all you want. That's not for me to tell you not to love the guy. You can feel good about him all you want. It's not for me to tell you not to feel good about him, but doggone it, don't you know that he was tried and convicted for sabotage? And he admitted that he did what he did. He wasn't thrown in jail just because he had a particular view. He was thrown in jail for what he did.
So how many blacks were killed before then, though, by the whites there?
What has that got to do with what we're talking about?
It has to do a lot with it.
No, you know what it has to do with? You are trying to justify your racism.
Oh, so I'm racist now.
Well, I think you are.
I think you're racist.
Well, I was waiting for that.
Yeah, I know you were.
Thank you very much, Duval.
Yeah, goodbye.
Goodbye, Duval. Carrie, you're on WABC. Hello.
Hello, Bob. I hope, personally, that President Bush offers U.S. help in mediating the differences between Mr. Mandela and the South African president. Offer his good offices.
Well, in what way could he offer his good offices? What could he...
For a reasonable deal and common justice.
Well, now, wait a minute. What would you suggest he do?
Offer his good offices, in other words...
Okay, his good offices, you jerk. Guy likes the phrase good offices. He's like Aaron. Kept saying Pete Seeger. At any rate, they're dumb out there, and they're getting dumber. See if you can top this. Anybody can sound any dumber? If you want to, call 489-WABC. If you have a fragile ego, I advise you not to call. There are some people who are so afraid of being insulted that even though they're anonymous, they feel humiliated. If you want to be humiliated on the New Jersey line, it's 489-WABC. 489-WABC. Ordinarily, I'm a pretty impatient person. Today, I'm extremely impatient. I feel it only fair to warn you.
Did you know something special happens to people who save at the Roslyn Savings Bank? At the end of the year, for the past 4 years, Roslyn depositors have received an extra interest payment. And this year, Roslyn will do it again, crediting an extra interest payment equal to 15% of the amount of interest earned during all of 1990 on every day of deposit to day of withdrawal, school savings and now account on record as of December 31st. Even if you aren't a Roslyn depositor now, you can benefit from this extra interest payment too. Just open an eligible account between now and the end of the year to qualify. The extra interest payment you earn will be credited on December 31st. How can the Roslyn Savings Bank pay extra interest? By being one of America's strongest mutual savings banks with a consistent record of high earnings, Roslyn Savings Bank is able to reward its depositors, the people who help to build the bank's strength. So why not earn extra interest on your money? Open a day of deposit to day of withdrawal account or now account today at the Roslyn Savings Bank in Roslyn, West Hempstead, Farmingdale, Belmore, or Woodbury. Member FDIC.
Temperatures rising.
conditioners by Emerson Quiet Cool.
Available at all 21 P.C. Richards & Sons showrooms serving Brooklyn, Queens, Nassau, and Suffolk.
Scratch, scratch, scratch it. Scratch it for the do-re-mi. Scratch, scratch, scratch it.
Play the new instant scratch-off game from New York Lottery, Grand Slam.
The other day I was driving with my friend Doug out. He said, drive down first so we could round second and get to third. I'm scouting for my girl. I bought her a pitcher because she baked me a bundt cake. I said, there she is. He said, catch her, catch her. But the signal changed and I came to a short stop. Too late, she'd run home. I parked the car, took a walk into the store and said, how's business? The owner said, place is loaded, nobody's out, here's the pitch. I held up my hand and said, I'll take Grand Slam.
Grand Slam, the new instant scratch-off game from the New York Lottery with 3 chances to win. If any one of your 3 scores beats their score, you win up to $500 instantly.
Scratch, scratch, scratch it.
Play Grand Slam, play Lucky Sevens, and play $10,000 money match. The instant scratch-off games from the New York Lottery will have you...
Scratch for the no, scratch for the no, re-mi.
Bob Grant right here on WABC. We say hello to Winston on the New York line. Yes, hello, Winston.
Yeah, Bob, I'd like to ask you, was Mandela justified in doing what he did back there 27 years ago? Was he justified? Was he on their side or right? Or was he wrong?
He was convicted of violating the laws of the land. He was convicted of serious crimes.
Well, the law of the land...
And so was he right or was he wrong?
Yeah.
You're looking... What you're trying to tell me is that you feel that he was justified in doing what he did.
I'm trying to say, yeah.
I don't care if you feel justified. If you feel that he was justified, that isn't what I consider to be the issue. The issue is the guy said he was thrown in jail for no reason. There was a reason for what he did.
Well, let me ask you something.
You know what I don't understand about people like you?
Yeah.
You claim you laud Mandela. You are in awe of him. You look upon him as a big hero.
Mm-hmm.
And yet he himself has said why he was incarcerated. He himself is fully aware of what it was.
I know he was aware of why he was incarcerated, but I'm saying, was he justified in doing what he did?
No, I don't.
Let me just ask you this.
That isn't the issue whether he was justified. No, I don't think he was justified in what he did.
Let me ask you this. If somehow the black people in America could take the government over by inventing some weapon that would be able to take the government over, and then we take white people to do the same thing the South Africans do with black people, would you be justified to overthrow that government?
I can hardly understand you, Winston, because in addition...
Wait a minute, this is very important.
Very important. You know what you're looking for. You know what you're looking for. You're trying to maneuver me to say what you want me to say. It's a ridiculous question. It's totally invidious. It's totally irrelevant.
No, it's not. It's the same thing that happened.
Well, listen, you can shout all you want, pal. You can shout all you want. You're not going to get me to say uncle. Guys like Winston want guys like me to say, oh, yeah, you're right. Well, he's not right. Wes, hello.
Yes, Bob Grant. A couple of days ago, you had some guy on from South Africa, and I was appalled that you brought someone paid by the South African government.
He wasn't paid by the South African government.
He's a mayor, isn't he?
We are going to have somebody paid by the South African government later. We're going to have an ambassador, but this guy was not paid.
Can I make this point?
May I tell you that the guy was not paid by the South African government? That's number one. May I tell you that if he were, I would gladly tell you that he was, because there would be nothing wrong in that.
Can I make this point?
You did not like the man's ideas.
No,
is that right? You didn't like his viewpoint, right?
He's a mayor, isn't he? He's not elected. He's put there by the South African government, so thereby he's being paid by them. Well, he's not an elected mayor.
First of all, he's not elected. First of all, he's no longer the mayor of that township.
But he wasn't elected.
He was put in that office according to the wishes of the people of Dubai, the council. You want to argue? You want to argue? You want to argue about how he became the mayor? Is that important? No. What disturbed you was not how he became. Don't you give me that? No. What disturbs you is not how he became the mayor.
Don't tell me
what disturbs you. I will tell you. You called me, you jerk. What disturbs you is the fact that he had opinions that you don't like.
Let me make this point about Noriega, for example.
Okay.
No, listen.
Now we go to Noriega, all right?
Now listen, 5 years ago,
sounds like a
did you know that the CIA kept having power and the people that tried to overthrow him?
Noriega.
Oh, God.
Get off my phone.
WABC, New York.
I'm in the isolation booth. It's 4 o'clock.
From ABC News, I'm Doug Limerick. Some staggering statistics coming out of Iran in connection with the powerful earthquake which hit the northern part of the country. The Iranian cabinet now says 10,000 people were killed and thousands of others were injured. Says whole villages were completely destroyed. U.S. experts measured the quake at 7.7 on the Richter scale. The White House is offering humanitarian aid for Iran.
Well, that was part of it. If the democracies don't help, then how come, why not turn to the communists?
Well, the democracies have helped, and furthermore, I'm surprised that a person obviously as interested in this issue as you are didn't know that. But, okay, does that wrap everything up?
One more question. I think the gentleman posed a good question to you. If by some force of evil, and I consider it a force of evil because I don't think people should be ruled or governed by the color of their skin, but if by some force of evil, blacks would overthrow whites in this country, and blacks ruled within an apartheid system, and the whites were being oppressed, and they too started to use terrorist efforts to regain their freedom, would they be wrong?
What an absurd question. What an absurd question. What you're looking for is for me to say that everything Nelson Mandela did was peachy keen. It wasn't peachy keen. I happen to think he's come out of prison a better man than he went in. I happen to think that it's a sad disappointment that he doesn't renounce communism and Marxism, because he's obviously a brilliant man, obviously has a certain personal magnetism that can make him very likable. And it's too bad that he doesn't renounce Marxism. Wouldn't it be wonderful if he did? Oh, well. On WABC, let's say hello to Bob. Hello, Bob. Are you there, Bob?
Yeah. I would like to say that if the Jews, what you're saying that the blacks in South Africa has no right to try to overthrow that government. The Jews in Germany, they just went on to the gas chamber. They had no right to stay out?
I didn't say that. See, you people like you, Bob, you don't have the ability to understand what's being said here.
What's being said?
What's being said is in response to a comment that had been made as to why Mandela was in prison. I pointed out that the record shows he was in prison not because of anything he said or not because of the way he looked, but because of what he did. Now, if you want to reject that, then call up Mandela himself and tell him to deny it. And you want to know something? He won't deny it because Mandela is he's a pretty honest guy. I mean, I may not agree with his philosophy, but he's not misleading anybody. He tells us where he stands. You could learn a lesson from him, but it would take you about 50 years to catch up to him.
But let me ask you this. At the time when he did what he did.
You know, he couldn't even understand you either. Ginger, you're on WABC. Hello.
Hi, Bob. Good afternoon. Bob, I am very, very upset. I heard a rumor that the state of New Jersey